Hi friends, I'm Dr. Ruta Vyas, coach, facilitator and mentor. So this happened many years ago. I was traveling to college by the VST bus and I saw this girl sitting in the front row in the seat reserved for the handicapped people. And here was this girl with long hair, very fancy sunglasses and looking out of the window. And at the next stop, a gentleman walked in, climbed in with his hand in a cast. There was no other seat vacant and one would expect this girl to get up and offer her seat. But no, she kept looking out of the window. So the do-gooder in me arose and I was really angry and I said, this has to change. This is wrong. How can she be so selfish? So I began to march ahead in the crowd in the bus to walk up to her and tell her what exactly she was doing wrong. But I was saved because just a few seconds later, the girl also got up to get off at the next stop. And when she got up, she opened up her red and white cane. The girl was blind. She was blind by sight, but I was blinded with my judgment. And friends, this is human, you would say. And yes, it is human to judge and to jump to conclusions. But this very same judgment becomes a curse in our relationships in life. A lot of times we jump to conclusions basis what we see, but very often, most often, we don't know the whole story behind that. So let me put it one more time. I'll put it in two different ways. The girl was being selfish versus the girl did not get up to offer her seat to a handicapped person. What is the difference? Yeah, you're right. The first one is my judgment. It is my reading of her actions. It is my evaluation of her actions. Whereas the second one is a description of the action itself. So the first one is the judgment and the second one is the behavior. And oftentimes we mix up one for the other. We see what we see with our eyes, but then our mind makes up an evaluation of what we have just seen, often leading us the wrong way. Now let's think of this as managers in organizations. When you are dealing with performance issues with a team member, when you see many things that need changing, how often are you also victims of this judgment where you go ahead and judge the person's performance without knowing the real intentions behind that? When we talk judgments, people begin to feel threatened and all of us are continuously either judging or being judged in return, and this becomes a big curse in relationships. As a manager, when you're dealing with performance issues, let's look at if we can break down these judgments into what we actually see. So for example, you are careless could be converted to there are 3 errors in this report. Or you're being casual in your approach could be converted to you have come late for almost every meeting this month. One is a comment on the person's actions and the other is a comment on the person herself or himself. And that makes people afraid, threatened, judged, victimized, and of course leads to a lot of conflict. And then managers say that feedback conversations are so difficult to have, people get so defensive, and why not? Because when they are attacked by judgments, we have no other way to get out but to defend ourselves. So if we really want to have positive, constructive feedback or performance conversations, let's try and see if we can break down our judgments into behaviors and actual actions, because then it makes a person feel safe, it makes him feel trusted, and he will typically come out with the real issues or the root causes of the performance problems, which you can then address and become more solution oriented. So ask yourself, which side do you tend to walk on? Judgments or behaviors? The same is also true of positive comments and feedback. So replace your "you are great," which is a judgment, with "your questions in that meeting were incisive," or "your listening in this meeting was wonderful, there was no interruption." Let's talk of actions so that people begin to feel like you noticed, They begin to feel acknowledged, and somewhere there's a desire in them to repeat those positive behaviors. So, in a nutshell, think about what your performance conversations sound like, because this can be a great tool for you to make people around you feel respected and feel safe, and build bonds of trust and relationships of love. So go ahead, look for the actions. There are many things we think we know when we see, but there are many things we don't know. And more than that, we don't even know what we don't know. So why not give benefit of doubt? Why not assume positive intentions and stick with what we see and take that as a topic of discussion rather than judgment? Go ahead and have those safe and respectful conversations. Bye-bye.